Thanks for joining. JustProfessor here. Someone from your group does something good, and you think it's because they're talented and hardworking. Someone from another group does the same good thing, and you think they got lucky or had unfair advantages. Same action, same result, completely opposite explanations, and you don't even notice you're doing it. Your brain has two completely different sets of rules for explaining behavior. One set for people in your group, another set for people in other groups. When your group succeeds, it's because of skill and effort. When your group fails, it's because of bad luck or unfair circumstances. But when other groups succeed, it's because of luck or cheating. When they fail, it's because they're lazy or incompetent. This is called the ultimate attribution error, and it's making you interpret the exact same behaviors in opposite ways depending on who's doing them. The ultimate attribution error is when you attribute positive behaviors from your group to internal qualities like character and ability, but attribute positive behaviors from other groups to external factors like luck and circumstances. And you do the reverse for negative behaviors. Your group's failures are external. Other groups' failures are internal. This creates a system where your group can do no real wrong and other groups can do no real right. This happens because your brain is wired to protect your group identity. Being part of a group matters for survival, belonging, and self-esteem. So your brain automatically interprets information in ways that make your group look good and other groups look worse. You don't consciously choose to do this. It happens automatically in how you explain and understand behavior. The problem is, this makes your thinking completely inconsistent. You're not applying the same standards to everyone. You're using one framework for judging your group and a different framework for judging others. This leads to conclusions that feel logical to you but are actually just protecting your group bias. You end up with a distorted view of reality that confirms your existing group loyalty. The error gets called ultimate because it extends the fundamental attribution error to group level. The fundamental attribution error is overestimating internal causes for behavior and underestimating external causes. The ultimate attribution error does this selectively. You overestimate internal causes when explaining other groups' failures and your group's successes. You overestimate external causes when explaining your group's failures and other groups' successes. Let me show you how this plays out in ways you probably don't realize you're doing. Sports fans demonstrate ultimate attribution error perfectly. Your team wins, and it's because of skill, strategy, and hard work. The players are talented. The coaching is excellent. Victory was earned. But when the other team wins, it's because the refs were biased, your team had injuries, or they got lucky breaks. Same game. Same rules. Opposite explanations based entirely on which team you identify with. When your team loses, it's never because they weren't good enough. It's because of bad calls, unlucky bounces, or circumstances beyond their control. But when the other team loses, it's clearly because they were inferior. No excuses needed. You apply completely different causal frameworks depending on group identity. Political judgments are completely distorted by ultimate attribution error. A politician from your party does something good, and it's because they're competent, principled, and working hard for the country. A politician from the other party does the same thing, and it's political calculation, forced by circumstances or done for wrong reasons. Same action. Opposite interpretation based purely on party affiliation. When your party's politician makes a mistake, it's because of impossible situations, bad information, or circumstances anyone would struggle with. When the other party's politician makes a mistake, it's because they're corrupt, incompetent, or didn't care enough. You genuinely believe these different explanations are justified, even though you're applying different standards to identical situations. Workplace dynamics show ultimate attribution error between teams and departments. Your team misses a deadline, and it's because another department didn't deliver on time, requirements kept changing, or resources were insufficient. External factors beyond your control. Another team misses their deadline and it's because they're disorganized, don't work hard enough, or lack competence. Internal factors they should have controlled. Your team succeeds and it's skill and effort paying off. Another team succeeds and they probably had easier projects, more resources, or lower standards. You protect your group identity by attributing your successes internally and your failures externally while doing the reverse for other groups. Academic and professional achievement gets interpreted through ultimate attribution error constantly. Students from your school do well and it's because the education is excellent and students work hard. Students from other schools do well and they probably had easier standards or grade inflation. Your group's achievement proves quality. Other groups' achievement proves nothing or even suggests something suspicious. When your school's students struggle, it's because of difficult circumstances, inadequate funding, or challenging student backgrounds. When other schools' students struggle, it's clearly an education quality problem. Same outcomes, different explanations, all based on protecting your group identity. National and cultural groups show extreme ultimate attribution error. Your country succeeds economically and it's because of hard work, good values, and smart systems. Another country succeeds and they probably cheated, had unfair advantages, or exploited others. You can't accept that other groups might achieve success through the same mechanisms you credit for your own group's success. Your country faces problems, and it's because of external threats, unfair global systems, or difficult circumstances. Other countries face problems and it's because of their culture, their values, or their competence. The attribution pattern always protects your group identity while diminishing other groups. Criminal justice reveals ultimate attribution error in dangerous ways. Someone from your racial, ethnic, or social group commits a crime, and it's because of circumstances, mental health, difficult background, or a one-time mistake. Someone from another group commits the same crime and it's because of their character, their culture, or something fundamentally wrong with that group. This difference in attribution leads to different treatment in the justice system. Business success and failure get explained through ultimate attribution error too. Companies from your country succeed and it's innovation, efficiency, and fair competition. Companies from other countries succeed, and they're probably getting unfair government support, stealing technology, or competing unfairly. You can't credit them with the same virtues you credit your own group's companies with. Scientific and technological achievement shows the same pattern. Discoveries from your country's scientists are breakthroughs showing the excellence of your research systems. Discoveries from other countries are flukes, probably built on your country's prior work or potentially stolen. The need to protect group status makes you unable to give other groups full credit. Social problems demonstrate ultimate attribution error destructively. Problems in your community are because of external forces, lack of resources, or systemic issues. Problems in other communities are because of their culture, their choices, or their values. This attribution difference prevents understanding and cooperation because you're explaining identical problems with completely different frameworks. Online communities and fandoms show ultimate attribution error clearly. Your community creates good content, and it's because of talent and dedication. Another community creates good content and they probably copied, got lucky, or benefited from unfair advantages. Your community has drama, and it's because of outside agitators or misunderstandings. Their community has drama, and it proves something wrong with them. So how do you judge fairly when your brain automatically protects your group? How do you recognize when you're applying different standards to the same behavior? First, notice when you're explaining the same outcome differently based on group membership. If success means skill for your group but luck for others, or failure means bad circumstances for your group, but incompetence for others, you're probably doing ultimate attribution error. Catch yourself using inconsistent explanations. Second, deliberately apply your group's explanations to other groups. When another group succeeds, force yourself to consider internal causes like you would for your group. When they fail, force yourself to consider external causes like you would for your group. This conscious reversal reveals how different your standards are. Third, ask what explanation you'd use if you didn't know which group was involved. If the answer changes when you add group identity, that's ultimate attribution error at work. Try to judge the behavior itself without letting group membership influence your interpretation. Fourth, look for consistent patterns in your thinking. Do positive outcomes from other groups always seem to have external causes? Do negative outcomes from your group always seem to have external causes? These patterns reveal the bias. Random events should have a mix of internal and external causes regardless of group. Fifth, consider whether someone from another group would agree with your explanation. If your attribution only makes sense from your group's perspective, it's probably biased. Fair explanations should be acceptable to neutral observers regardless of their group membership. Sixth, remember that other groups use the same motivated reasoning about their groups. They attribute their successes internally and their failures externally, just like you do. Recognizing that everyone does this helps you see that it's a bias rather than accurate perception. Seventh, focus on specific behaviors and situations rather than making group-level generalizations. The more specific you are, the harder it is for ultimate attribution error to operate. General statements about groups are where the bias thrives. Ultimate attribution error is making you judge your group and other groups by completely different standards. You explain the same behaviors with opposite logic depending on who's doing them. Your group's successes prove their quality. Other groups' successes prove nothing or raise suspicion. Your group's failures have external causes. Other groups' failures reveal internal flaws. This system makes your group always look good and other groups always look questionable. This isn't conscious prejudice in most cases. It's automatic protection of group identity. Your brain needs to maintain positive views of groups you belong to because those groups are part of your identity. Threatening the group threatens you. So your brain interprets information in ways that protect group status, and it does this without you noticing. The result is you think you're being fair and objective while actually using completely inconsistent standards. You genuinely believe your different explanations are justified by real differences. You didn't see that you are applying one framework to your group and another framework to other groups. The bias is invisible to you while obvious to anyone outside your group. This makes conflict and misunderstanding basically inevitable between groups. Each group thinks its successes are earned and its failures are unfortunate. Each group thinks other groups' successes are suspicious and their failures are deserved. Nobody can agree on basic facts about merit and causation because everyone is using ultimate attribution error to protect their group identity. Understanding this error doesn't make you immune to it. Your brain will still automatically generate group protective interpretations. But awareness helps you catch yourself and correct. You can notice when your explanations change based on group membership. You can force yourself to apply consistent standards. You can question attributions that perfectly align with protecting your group's status. The next time you find yourself explaining why your group's success was earned, but another group's success was lucky, or why your group's failure had good reasons, but another group's failure shows their flaws, recognize ultimate attribution error at work. Your brain is protecting group identity at the expense of consistent, fair thinking. Most people never notice this happening and spend their lives with completely distorted views of in-groups and out-groups. Subscribe to discover more ways your brain distorts reality to protect your identity and beliefs.